It's Holy Thursday, the day we relive with Christ that night before he died. Let us remember together the Last Supper, which he shared with his friends, and the humbling act of washing the feet of his followers. Jesus knew that within less than 24 hours, he would take his last breath, and he chose to spend those with his friends. They sang songs, spoke the words of Scripture, enjoyed each other's fellowship, dined. Then Jesus washed their feet. The washing of feet was a custom of the time. There were no paved roads, and people wore sandals, which were open to the sandy paths. But this task was put on the lowest ranking servant, and here Jesus kneeled on the bare stone floor before each of his guests and washed their feet. I invite you to find a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Now imagine yourself in the upper room with Jesus. The smell of fresh baked bread fills the room. Everyone is gathered at the table. No, not like in the Da Vinci painting and sitting only on one side. Everyone's sitting around the table, enjoying each other's presence. Phones are turned off. There are no selfies being taken. They are simply eating a meal together. You look around the table. John's filling the cups with wine. Peter hands you a glass. Mary Magdalene, Matthew, and Andrew are embracing the joy of Passover. James and John stand at the door to welcome other guests. Jesus looks sad. He reaches to you and takes your hand in his. A faint but loving smile crosses his lips. As he starts the familiar prayers, Judas slips in late to sit at the end of the table. The room is very quiet after Jesus blesses the bread and wine. He hands you a small piece of the warm bread and says,
"Take this, eat it in remembrance of me."
Many of the disciples close their eyes in prayer, but you're distracted by footsteps behind you as Judas leaves. No one seems to notice but Jesus, who says nothing, but you can see pain cross his face. He sighs in silent recognition. As the prayer comes to a close, voices start to raise again, and the celebration continues. Then all of a sudden, Jesus stands up. He starts taking off his jacket, and then puts a towel over his arm, like a waiter in an Italian restaurant, ready to take your order. The room falls into silence. Jesus gets down on his knees and starts pouring water into a tub and washes your feet, using the towel on his arm to dry them off. At first, you're a little anxious, wondering, why is he doing this? But you trust Jesus and know that he loves you. So the embarrassment fades away, and he continues to wash your feet. His hands gently touch your feet, and his kindness towards you is obvious. You think of how much he must love you. Now he comes to Simon Peter. Everyone in the room knows that he's the leader. He says,
"Lord, are you going to wash my feet?"
And Jesus replies,
You might not know what I'm doing now, but later you will understand.
Then Peter says,
"No, Jesus, you'll never wash my feet. You're holier than me. Let me wash your feet."
Peter, unless I wash your feet, you will have no part of me.
Peter protests, then reluctantly removes his sandals and takes a seat on a wobbly bench.
Lord, not only my feet, but my hands and my head as well.
Jesus said to him,
One who has bathed does not need to wash, except for the feet, but is entirely clean. And you are clean, but not all of you.
He knows that somebody is going to betray him.
Not all of you are clean.
After this, everyone is deeply confused. So Jesus finishes washing everyone's feet, rejoins you at the table, looks at you, and asks,
Do you know what I have done for you?
Before you can stammer out a reply, he says,
I am setting an example for you to follow. Servants are not greater than their master, nor are messengers greater than the one who sent them. You call me teacher and Lord, because that is who I am. So, if your teacher washes your feet, then you go out and wash one another's feet.
Jesus folds the dampened towels as he continues.
You should do for others as I do for you.
It's time to say your goodbyes. It is time to carry this experience with you. Jesus wraps his arms around you, sending you out in love. Walk through the door of the upstairs room, walk down the stairs, and back into this space. We now invite you to partake in a washing of each other's feet. If you live in a household with others, we invite you to grab a bowl, a pitcher of water, and a towel, and wash each other's feet in remembrance of Jesus' act of love and service. If you do not live with others, we invite you to imagine washing the feet of your neighbor. What feelings come up? You may consider sending a message to 12 people you know who would appreciate a sign of God's ever-present love this Holy Thursday.